Hey, good day. I'm haven't done a video in quite a while. I thought I'd answer some questions today. I'm on the Florida Trail, St. Marks Wildlife Refuge in the Panhandle of Florida. Thought I'd see a lot more damage because of the hurricane that hit the Panhandle, the Big Bend, I guess they call it down here, this fall. But I really haven't noticed any. I think the Swanee section is pretty bad. I actually called the Florida Trail Association the other day and left a message that I would be willing to work on trail crew if they needed some help. I haven't heard back from them. Trying to set up my winter, so I almost didn't get in here. You know, our budget problems as of yesterday, so the pathetic posse of politicians in Washington were all trying to hold us hostage, and had they not finally signed that budget at the last hour, this section of trail, the wildlife refuge, would be closed today, along with all other federal lands. So my next month and a half of reservations are the Everglades, Big Cypress Swamp, the springs up in the Ocala area. I want to hike a lot of my favorite sections of the trail that I did last year. I do have a reservation at Kissimmee Prairie State Park. That was really a great section. And anyway, it looks like I dodged that bullet. I think they aren't going to argue over that until March, and I'll be out of here. But some of the questions people have asked me, so my last videos probably pictured rocks, Isle Royal. I had problems with my Kakwa 40 pack on the Superior hiking trail last summer, and people asked me, you know, how that worked out. Dan Durston offered to send me a new pack, but I declined. I didn't feel like it was necessary. I could fix this, and I did. I'll show you how I did, what I did, and it's working just fine. I did something really stupid on my last time at Pictured Rocks hike, something I tell a lot of my viewers not to do, and I did it. None of us are flawless. I screwed up big time, and I'll tell you about that when I find a place to stop along here. Anyway, this is one of my favorite sections of the trail up here at St. Marks. Just beautiful. A little chilly right now. That Arctic Express just follows that jet stream right out of Canada and right down here to the Gulf recently, so it's been pretty cold, but it's supposed to warm up over Christmas. This campground is probably one of the best views on the St. Marks section. Great sunsets. Lots of wading birds in this pond here. I just scared them all off. I guess they don't want to spend the night with me. Anyway, I said I bought my Kakwa 40 pack. So when I got home from that trip this summer, I re-sewed the whole thing, but first I got into my pack parts box. I got some old nylon strapping and cut it up, and I shoe glued it to all the bad spots. I just didn't want it to keep kind of drifting into the pocket, the rip. So I glued it right where I wanted it, put a clamp on it, let it dry real good. Then I just sewed the heck out of those straps right where they were, and I haven't had a problem since. This pack will probably last a long, long time. And if it doesn't, I'll just buy another Kakwa 40 because I really like that pack. And a lot of people have asked me about the X-Dome, why I haven't bought an X-Dome. If I like Durston tents so much, why don't I buy one of those? Well, I would have, except I live in a motorhome, and in the old days you used to be able to just pull up, drop anchor, and camp anywhere, but nowadays you need about a year advance reservations to go anywhere. So I never know where that mothership's gonna park, and you know, I like Dan's business plan where he sells product ahead of time and then builds to orders. I think that's a great way to run a business. But for me, that's just too far out. I don't know where I'll be. I mean, if they would have shut down all the federal parks with that budget deal last night, I'm only 20 miles from I-10 in the Florida Panhandle. I would have gone up there, turned left, put my foot in the carburetor, and I'd be in Arizona in a week. But it looks like everything's going to work out, and I'm going to stay here in Florida. But again, I don't know where I'll be, where I could have it shipped. But I do like them. You know, I think if I was going to do a really long trail like the PCT or the AT or the CDT again, I would probably buy an X-Mid 15, 16 ounce tent, just go a lot lighter. You know, now I'm on the other side of 75. Between now and 80, I think I'm gonna probably have to lose a few pounds. Everything's working right now. I still feel good, but it doesn't hurt to lose some weight. But the X-Dome would save me 11, 12 ounces. If you watch my videos, you know I really like my Hilleberg Enon. I always go back to it. But I would like to save some weight, and I like the design and the engineering Dan's put into that X-Dome. I know it's had some initial problems, but you know, that's just to be expected. I'd live through that. I just like the way he kind of changes things up and really works on the designs. And it's got, you know, so do I need a freestanding tent? No, but it does come in handy. You know, if you take the Alaskan ferry system through the inside passage at night, you know, the whole back of that ship is just a campground. If you've got a freestanding tent, you can just go back there, set up your tent, sleep all night till you hit port the next day. Down here, if you want to take the Florida paddle trail through the Everglades City to Flamingo Campground, 110 miles, and then you get these chickies to sleep up on, and a freestanding tent would be good there. I almost got my wife to do that with me, but then I showed her a video, which was a mistake, of a gator. I've told you how strong a gator's tail is, so this gator came right out of the water and right up on that chickie, laid there and sunned himself. So after she saw that, she thought, no, I am not sleeping with gators. She likes wild places. She likes quiet, not sleeping with gators. And I told her, I said, you know, we've got bug netting. They can't get at us. But she wasn't buying into that either. And the other thing is, so when I did Pictured Rocks a few months ago, you know, I'm always saying, when you stop, when you get up, look around, it'll save you a ton of money because you're going to leave things. And I do that every time, and I didn't not do that, but I'd sat at so the Park Service right along Lake Superior, they'd put a kayak launch in, and they had a life-saving box there, and I thought that was a great place to have dinner. So I sat on that box, had my pack on one side, took my food bag out, set it down in a little nook on the other side, and it was just out of my good eye sight, and I got up and walked away from it. I didn't notice it till 10 miles later when I set up camp that night, and I wasn't going back for it if a bear hadn't already eaten it. But not only did I lose a Dyneema food bag, I also had my CNOC 2-liter bag in there with my protein powder. Had to buy a new one of those. I think that little mistake cost me about 50 bucks. I had something besides the food that I didn't have. Luckily, it was the end of the trip. The next day I walked into Munising, Michigan and had breakfast and hitchhiked back to my car, which is another whole video I'll do on hitchhiking, because that, out of all the hitchhiking I do, that was probably my biggest experience, not good, in a long time. Anyway, so much for stories. Keep smiling.